this class is related to certain tips how to write general essay paper. General essay is different from general studies. Generally students think that if you prepare general studies well, there is no need for separate preparation for general essay. In fact, UPSC have differentiated between general essay and general studies. If UPSC thinks that general essay and general studies are one and the same, it should have given the name general essay or given the name general studies to general essay. So, there are certain tips to be followed while writing general essay. From last 3 years, general essay they are giving 2 essays. We have to write 2 essays. Earlier, for 200 marks, it is 1 essay we have to write. Now, for 250 marks, we have to write 2 essays, 125 and 125. They will give 4 essays in each section. We are expected to write 1 essay out of 4 essays. See, it is easy to write an essay, but very difficult to select an essay. While choosing an essay, you should have certain basic things. Number 1, good introduction to an essay is very important. The definition of essay should not directly be written in the first sentence or first paragraph. For example, you are writing an essay on women empowerment. You should not directly start women empowerment means socially, economically and politically empowering the women. You should start with a very good quote or very good introduction of recent happenings relating to the women. For example, when you are writing an essay on women empowerment or whether women emancipation, you can start with this. Women constitutes half of the workforce. Women constitutes half of the population, 2/3 of the workforce, and they earn less than 10% of world income, own less than 1% of world property. They earn less than 10% of world income and own less than 1% of world property. Like that you can give an introduction. Or you can start with a quote, Yatra naryastu pujyante ramante tatra devata. That means where the women are honored, there the goddesses exist. Or else you can write, if a woman moves, a family moves, a village moves, a country moves, a nation as a whole moves. Anything you can write as an introduction relating to that particular aspect. See, when a question is asked about women political reservations, you can write, the hand that rocks the cradle can become the hand that rules the world. The hand that rocks the cradle can become the hand that rules the world. But should not write remote introductions. For example, if essay is asked on environment, you cannot write an introduction relating to something like pollution. Suddenly you cannot write. The relevance of introduction should be very much relevant to the heading of the essay. The introduction and essay heading should be very much relevant. If at all you don't get any quotation instantly which is relevant, you can write with a recent example, any recent example relating to that. For example, when you are writing an essay on terrorism, if you cannot write a quotation at that time, you can introduce about London terror attacks, Brussels terror attacks, Pathankot, from Paris to Pathankot. You can give a heading like that. But never start an essay directly defining the topic of the essay, but discuss the relevant portion of the essay or send one quote, important quote relevant to the essay heading. That is the most important thing. And the second thing is, in the second or third paragraph, you should actually define what is that and the relevance of that particular essay. And next important thing is, while writing an essay, you need to put your heart. Essay is different from GS answers. In GS, if you address the question exactly within a given time in 200 or 300 words, it is enough. In essay, it should be written with a heart. In general studies, it can be written with a mind. See, your personality will be totally reflected in an essay. Your factual knowledge, your analytical ability, and more importantly, the examples you give, the data you give is very important in essay. While choosing an essay, you should have a comprehensive package, that is examples, data relating to that essay. For example, you are writing an essay on employment. You should have basic data relating to unemployment statistics in India, MG Narega statistics in India, and women workforce in India. All these things you should know, and also any ILO conventions relating to that. All these things you should have a stock of the situation. And more importantly, you should also able to write some advantages, some disadvantages, or if the essay needs some other perspective, you can easily have an essay like sociological perspective, psychological perspective, economic perspective, geographical perspective, political perspective, and cultural perspective. You can divide the essay into perspectives also without giving subheadings. Most of the students get it out whether a subheading is required for an essay or not. See, essay should not be with full of subheadings or with full of bullet points. Here and there in a paragraph or two you can have subheadings or some points. That does not mean that entire essay should contain subheadings. Okay, and more importantly, essay should not be completely critical, completely negative. You can write challenges, but should minimize the word using problems, because for a civil servant there is no problem at all. The word problem or impossible should not appear in his dictionary. So you can use the word challenges and you can give suggestions. And more importantly, relating to that essay, if there is any international issues relating to that or national laws, national policies relating to that, you have to mention in it. Most of the students think that while writing an essay, we don't require to write factual things, but UPSC actually gives weightage to factual things also while writing an essay. Factual data. For example, when you are writing about RTE Act, you have to write about how many children are in school, what is Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, what is Rashtriya Madhyamika Shiksha Abhiyan, and what is 21A, by which amendment, 86th amendment 21A is added to the constitution. See, basic data should be written, and more importantly, any constitutional provisions relating to that particular essay should also be written in the essay. For example, when you are writing an essay on electoral reforms, you have to mention about Election Commission of India, Article 324, Universal Adult Franchise, Article 326, all these details, and including any act relating to that. For example, Representation of People's Act deals with elections in India. So you should also speak about Representation of People's Act. And apart from that, there are certain essays which are basically literary essays. For example, Child is the Father of Man, My Ideal World Order. So even you can handle literary essays, but don't think that we can directly go to the exam hall and write an essay. You have to prepare at least 30 to 40 essays before sitting into the mains exam. Every week you should develop 2-3 essays. How you have to develop this? We read newspapers, we read various articles. Generally, if civil services aspirant will take only knowledge base out of it, but have a separate notes of how to write an essay. Introductions, conclusions, you can take from good quotations or good people's teachings like Jawaharlal Nehru quotes, Mahatma Gandhi quotes, Martin Luther King quotes, or Swami Vivekananda quotes. All these quotes you can enter into a book. And apart from that, you can read speeches of great leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru, like Madan Mohan Malavya, like Annie Besant, and from there you can actually pick up the sentences and you can have your own essay notebook. In that notebook, you have to keep on writing these sentences. While writing an essay, these sentences are very useful in building your strength of the essay. And more importantly, in the entirety of your essay, your consciousness, your public orientation should reflect. Your spirit towards national building, the nation building of India should reflect. And in writing an essay, it is that you as a person should reflect. And essay should have a readability. Readability here means, see, when you are reading an article, you will feel that you have to read and continue the article more and more. When you read some other article, you feel that the article is boring. After all, examiner is also a human being. If he is correcting his your essay answer sheet, he should feel that you are giving something new ideas to him, some innovation to him. You are a person with some capability and heart, and you can provide a solution with practicality and enthusiasm. and you have positive attitude. So you have to build all these things in your essay in 2 hours, which means 1.5 hour for one essay and 1.5 hour for other essay. But here the important tip is, you should not directly venture into writing an essay. First thing, even in the exam hall, at least keep 10 minutes time for preparing the structure of an essay. In the last page of your mark sheet, answer sheet, you will have a separate note sheet. In that you prepare a synopsis, small structure of your essay. That is very important. Directly don't enter the essay, but still structure of an essay. And second thing, don't forget to give a heading to the essay. Generally you will select an essay and you will start writing, but most of the students sometimes forget to write heading. That is important. And in essay, never go for a radical solutions. I'll change India overnight, or I'll do miracles overnight. All these things should be avoided. So you can be idealistic. At the same time, you cannot actually become utopian in each and every solution. You should give most practical solutions in essay. And the conclusion of essay should never be negative. So you should not give a drastic statements like India will never change, Indians will never change, this materialistic world will never change, we cannot stop terrorism. All these things you can never write and enter into an essay, particularly in the conclusion. Even in the body of an essay, you should give certain challenges. That does not mean that you cannot overcome the challenges. So you have to note down all the important challenges, and sometimes if you can recollect the best criticism of that particular thing, if anybody criticizes that also you can mention if the name is very popular. Don't use unpopular names or notorious names always in essay. For example, if a man is booked in under corruption, or if a man is a controversial figure, you need not write. For example, you can quote like Martin Luther King, or something like Aung San Suu Kyi, or Lee Kuan Yew, but you cannot quote controversial politicians while writing an essay. So never take a controversial name, never take a politician name who is actually in real politic in local system in India. And next thing, while writing an essay, you should also be very careful in choosing the topic. Because certain topics they will give a lot of scope, certain topics very less scope. And more importantly, this year in 2016 paper, there is a question about women empowerment. If development is not engendered, it will be endangered. If development is not engendered, it will be endangered. Most of the students have not properly understood the topic. If you are not sure about the topic, don't venture into that essay. Never try to predict. And some students will start with some aspect, some perspective, and go into remote perspective which is not connected to the essay. For every 15 minutes, we have to check whether we are actually get connected to the essay, or whether you are deviating from essay. So the topic, the focus of the topic should never be missed. Sometimes an essay needs 2 dimensions or 3 dimensions. Throughout the essay, if you keep on focusing on one dimension, at the end you have to end up in one paragraph. That is also a mistake. So the dimensions of the essay, the focal point of the essay should never be missed. The dimensions and focal point of the essay should never be tracked out. You have to track your essay properly. And some of the students actually end the essay and again they begin the essay. They will give conclusion and again they start writing the essay. That should not be the case. They have to structure the essay in such a way that proper conclusion should be drawn. Even sometimes, if needed, in the conclusion paragraph also, you can add some quote, or you can add some the value based system, or you can add some of the relevant quotations or examples with a positive mindset. Sometimes, if you don't get any data, anything in the conclusion, you can also have your own poem or something like your own gist of the essay. For example, in 2006, I wrote an essay on sustainable development. In that essay, at the end I said, I want a green grass, blue sky and prosperous country to live in. So these small differences will actually gain more marks to you. See, there is no perfect style to write an essay. Everybody has unique style to write an essay, but don't miss the focal point of the essay and never go into extremes while writing an essay, and essay actually reflects your personality. You have to remember that.